Sets the scene, doesn't it? Sets the scene. The Featherstone Rovers against Pierre, and we're going to have the national anthems right now. The first of those is the Marseillaise, the French national anthem. Of course, on the weekend of the Queen's Diamond Jubilee, ever so apt that we now all stand for the British national anthem.
The Featherstone Male Voice Choir.
Well, terrific. We're looking forward to this. Referee in the middle there, by the way, is Gareth Hewer this afternoon. There's the Featherstone Male Voice Choir, and there he is, Gareth Hewer. He'll be taking charge. And as ever, if you're new to us, because we're free to air today, of course, so a lot of you will be joining us for the very first time. But we will be hearing from the video referee, Ian Smith. If we do have to go for a video refereeing decision, then we will hear from Ian Smith, who will talk us through the process. So that's an innovation you get here on Premier Sport throughout the season, watching the Championship Rugby League, and on this occasion, the European Championship final itself. Featherstone Rovers against the Pierre Donkeys. Brian Noble, what are we expecting?
The start of the game will be furious. Good line speed initially here from Pierre, and they'll be looking to literally make their mark on the Featherstone players, and this first set, always an indicator of where we're going to.
Well, it's Featherstone who have the early possession. Chance to try and make their mark, as Brian says. The Pierre side in the green. Here at dummy half, it's Ben Kay. Little chip downfield by Liam Finn, so an early test for Clement Souberas, the fullback for the day, who picks it up safely enough, but a terrific chase. He's going nowhere.
I think one thing we haven't mentioned, Dave, is the dimensions of this field. It's short, it's not very wide, and from left to right, as we look at the screen, it goes downhill, quite a considerable gradient, so this will be new to Pierre as well. They've got to climb a hill.
Nick Youngquist has got a white look on his face, because he remembers this pitch rather vividly from not that long ago here with Castleford in the Challenge Cup. But what are you looking forward to today, Nick?
I'll tell you what, the hill seems a little bit worse when you're actually playing too. So, but yeah, I think Pierre will probably, you know, show Featherstone they mean business, and as you say, Andy Finn kicked early then on tackle 3, and it's going to be something that Pierre are going to have to contain.
Here's a kick from Maxime Grosek, one of those who is a familiar face in that Pierre lineup. Ian Hardman will collect it. One or two missing for Featherstone today, not the least of them Stuart Dickens, who's injured at the moment. They'll miss his size and force up front, the skipper. Featherstone in possession, and a chance again here to just put a bit of pressure on their opponents. Out from dummy half goes Greg Worthington. Little dash down that left-hand side, the former Huddersfield Academy man. And now the drive from Anthony England, taking it up with real power. 4 gone, 2 to come here. Away by Kay. Here's Lockwood. On the last. Well, the Pierre players They're getting their 10 metres away, but it's Kane will put the little kick over the top. They're outnumbered here. It's Briscoe trying to get there, but Subiras bravely across to gather that one in.
Great work from the fullback. He's had to make yards up there and literally put his body on the line, and this is where Featherstone want Peer. They're going to fly out the line themselves and try and create and force an error, but I've been impressed with what I've seen initially with Peer. You know, they look well organised in defence, putting 3 in the tackle and peeling off in numbers so that they look organised.
Well, it's moved along by Carrere to that right-hand side. The second row, Mark Cantony, who is an Aussie by birth, Mark Cantony, though he plays for the United States international team. So he's got a bit of history. And they're making decent progress here as well, the French side. Here's Mayans. Back it goes to Grisek again, who gets the kick away. In fact, it was Carrere who got the kick away. Briscoe, who collects it safely enough. If he looks familiar and sounds familiar, he's the younger brother of Tom Briscoe. He's on dual registration from Hull FC, from their under-20s. Daryl Pell says he's been really impressed with the way he's played since arrived. And here's Gratian, filling that centre's role today. Unfamiliar for him, but there's been a few injury problems, so that's why he's there. England again offloading. Left it goes. Good hands from Hepworth, but the French defence is up quickly enough.
Peer just need to organise a last play a little bit better, Dave. You know, the couple of pop gun kicks, one from Grisek and one from Carrere, and they just need to keep away from the sidelines, because on this hill it gives the opposition, i.e. Featherstone, the chance to really charge the kicker and put him under pressure, which has resulted in a couple of pop gun kicks.
There's Finn with a longish pass and Grayson. But here's the last. Kane quickly up. Away to Grayson again, who's no more options really than to try and force his way over. It's the handover on the 6th tackle. Well, there's some familiar faces in the crowd today.
Take it back, Max. There you go. Guys, let's hold the rest. Hold the line, wait. Go.
Here's Sheed, Artie Sheed.
He's got plenty of experience, hasn't he, Artie Sheed?
Hold.
Will lead from the front.
And again by Ben Vieux. A lot of Aussie, New Zealand type players in this side.
I think there are only 2 Frenchmen in the French pack per se.
Well, they have a penalty here, so they can clear their lines. Bit of a relief for the Peer Donkeys. The golf has been there to be seen, hasn't it, this last weekend? All the English sides have won, and they've won by a reasonably comfortable distance as well. So a chance for Peer maybe to restore a little bit of French pride, but it shows you there's a lot of learning to do for the French teams. We heard from their coach, didn't we, beforehand? Benoit Albert saying about it's a learning process, and one of those things to learn is don't drop the ball on the first tackle. Broderick Wright has put it down.
Avignon had a lot of that yesterday, and it told in the end, because the superior level of fitness and physicality of the English side yesterday made it a bit of a blowout towards the back end. They gave them free field position, and if you're going to compete at this level, I'm hugely in favour of this competition, because for the French, you know, to get them up to speed, the coach was absolutely right. They shouldn't be frightened of playing anybody, because it gives you aspirations and hopes to be a little bit better.
Hepworth moving it away to Worthington, who's going to be held up, but you can see how close he's getting here. He's only about 5 yards away from that Peer line. In these early stages, Finn now, a couple of dummies from him. Kane coming from deep with a dummy and the sidestep. And in the end, it was the referee who offered the sternest resistance in terms of stopping him scoring the try. But a wonderful little stepping run, and Featherstone have their opening try with barely 6 minutes played.
Well, they do like to come from left to right, and Andy Kane is the architect. And Finn's going to give it to his partner in crime, Andy Kane, and a bit slow from Vieux on the inside, and that gives Andy Kane the opportunity to sprint through and use his footwork. He's too quick with that kind of situation, and you have to say that Ben Vieux should have done a whole lot better there in making up the space. Andy Kane, and free try for Andy Kane, and that's something that the French are going to have to compete with all afternoon.
Yeah, well, no, that's come off the back of Featherstone just pinning Peer down into their corner, you know, and applying pressure to them, and obviously the French team couldn't handle it. So.
Broderick Wright losing possession on the very first tackle after the penalty didn't help either, did it?
They're not unusual. The game is such that if you give free possession to somebody in their half, you know, if you're giving free possession without having to work for it, you've got... Just watch Finn kick this goal.
Finn?
You've got higher energy levels, and the defence it's a tough part of the game. And here we see, you know, Finn to Kane, and Kane just he can't get up there, and Broderick again peels off to the bloke on the outside. The threat's where the ball is. He should have stayed till the ball was passed for sure, but Benvier just didn't help him enough.
So the restart. I don't think Pierre have had possession inside their opponent's half so far, have they? In the it's early days. They only played 7 minutes, just over, but they'll be hoping to pin Featherstone as deep inside their own territory as they can in this next set. Briscoe with the initial drive, and then maybe trying to set up camp down there and put some pressure on Featherstone, but it's looking at the moment as though Featherstone are in control. Here's Tim Spears. As coach described him as the brick with eyes this week. That was Glenn Lazarus originally, wasn't it? The brick with eyes. It's a great name. Good kick, but it's going to go dead for a tap back on the 20.
Yeah, he was looking for that elusive 40-20 kick on a shorter field, and you're coming down the hill. If anywhere near the 40, if you're inside, I'd have a crack at it here. And that's what they decided to do there, but didn't execute the play.
So the French side again running from familiar territory. Up the hill here, Nick, it's hard to judge from where we're sitting. This is up the hill, is it?
Yeah, it's up the hill, yeah. It's definitely worse when you're playing, believe me.
Well, I don't think the French are going to move from this middle track in the field with either one-up carries, because they're certainly not lined up to shift the play on that first 4 carries. So Featherstone can really afford to shorten their line some more if they wish.
Here's Christophe Morley from dummy half. This is Cantoni, I think it is, who's driven it in. They've reached the halfway line. So a chance to build from here. Carrère. Well, the short flat pass was looked for by Benvier, but it wasn't read by Steve Norton. It's gone to ground. Referee hadn't blown his whistle, so Vieux said, well, I'll play on if nobody wants to stop. And then the referee does blow his
something
whistle.
he'd scream play on, then the referee. And then Vieux pinched the ball off him. Watch, he's right. Here we go, that's a knock on. The referee screams, play on, play on. So Johnny Gresham picks it up. And we don't quite see it there, but he said, I'm off. I'm just been playing off, I'll take it off him. Would have been a bit unfair on Featherstone, but...
Well, hadn't crossed the advantage line, had he, I suppose, is what they'd say. Here's Ian Hardman. He's still about 10 metres short of the halfway line. Featherstone looking reasonably comfortable in his opening 10 minutes, just under at the moment. Driven in by Anthony England again. That's a good take, him. Sent off against Hunslet just a week ago, wasn't he? For striking an opponent, but he doesn't see the disciplinary till next week, so that's why he can play today. Here comes Hartman joining in from full-back. 15 metres away. Featherstone poised again. Kay helped on its way by Spears, so it's a loose-ish pass from Lockwood, but picked up and a chance to turn it into something special by Hepworth. Thought about the offload, went down in the tackle from Cooper. Up it comes. This is Kane with a step again. The tackle was maybe a little lazy, and Kane reaches, and for the second time already has a try to his name. This one took a little more finishing than the first in terms of sheer physicality, but Featherstone in the driving seat at 10 points to 0.
Yeah, it's that man Andy Kane again. I think he beats the same bloke again. I think he's... When he gets Grisek there, and there's Benvier and the full-back, Tavares just can't stop him. He's just too strong, too quick off his feet. He's beaten 3 people to get that score, so he thoroughly deserves it, and P will be a bit disappointed with their defence for sure. But there's the first look. Maxime Grisek beats easily. Benvier can't get there, and Subiras is just not Johnny on the spot to stop the play. Too strong.
Clément Subiras has been the last man each time, hasn't he? And you really can't blame him for either of the tries.
Yeah, I think he's looking at the script for this afternoon. He's going to have to get into his big bloke, said, listen, there's too many of these blokes in white jumpers coming through.
Well, he normally plays on the wing, doesn't he, Nick, Clément Subiras?
Yeah, he played on the wing this year. Yeah, he had a pretty good season. So obviously fullback's not his chosen position, but he's filling in there today.
So a chance for 10 to become 12 here. Liam Finn with the right boot knows his way around the kicking positions of the big fellas stadium. Over it goes, 2 out of 2, 12 points to 0. Featherstone lead. And we played less than 12 minutes already. Kane with real determination. Big boot from the scrum half Carrère.
Pia been with the ball, been in Featherstone's half?
Not with any great distance. There might have been a stride or two inside Featherstone's half, but not so far. This is Spears. Drives it in. Really tough second row player, Tim Spears. And they're all looking for a bit of the hard work down the middle. Forward pass, so they should get possession here. Forward pass, head and feed, goes the French side's way.
I know, didn't think it was forward, but Mr. Hewer does, and that's the main person. Yeah, maybe. When you're playing flat at the line, you know, it's such a fine line, isn't it, between what's forward and what isn't, and sometimes it's a judgment call on the part of the ref, and he wasn't happy there. Or the touch judge, he might give him some information.
Anthony Correa with the feed, picked up from the back of it by Christophe Molly. Here's Suberas, who's joining in the line. Nice to see him with the ball in his hands. He'll be relieved with that. He'll be in the last line of defence a couple of times already. Correa helping it on again. Featherstone defending in numbers and physically well enough at the moment. Christophe Molly, the French international. Correa. This is Grisek, Maxime Grisek, wants off Featherstone out to Thomas Humbert on this left-hand side.
He's a strapping lad, isn't he? Thomas Humbert, he just fell over then.
Son of the president. That helps, doesn't it?
Oh, you get a game every week there in France.
Team. Oh, big dummy from Grisek.
Pass.
And here's Humbert now with a kickback, which Grisek will have to chase, but Hudman will deal with it sufficiently well enough.
You know, something, I watched the game yesterday day with Avenue, and we call them brain explosions in England, but sometimes a French player will do what they see he's on. They won't tell the rest of the team, but you know, that was play 3, was it? And he decided to kick for himself, the winger Humbert, and need to be a little bit more conservative. I don't want to stop the way the French play. I think it's brilliant the way that they can improvise and play for themselves. And but if you're going to compete against Featherstone, you're going to have to look after the ball a whole lot better.
A little dabble down the blind side there, Ben Kay.
I remember when Nick Youngquist came to the Cruise, he'd chip on player 1 and he'd throw the ball to the opposition and when he hadn't had the ball for 15 minutes. So we had to smart him up a bit.
But when you're a genius like him, you can do that kind of thing, can't you?
Well,
you don't want to temper. That's the problem with coaches. You get a genius like that and you tell him to run with it.
Do you know something? You're absolutely right. Speaking as a commentator, you're absolutely right. We want to see flair in the game and we want to see ambition, but you have to justify that to the rest of your team as well as anybody else.
So Peer in familiar territory again here, inside their own half, but at least with ball in hand and a chance maybe to get it downfield if they can. But Featherstone's blanket defence at the moment. There's no way through the middle, is there? Just at this stage.
No, they're technically very good, aren't they, Featherstone? You can see they've done a lot of wrestling in their technique in the environment, and it just makes them good in contact. They're used to handling bodies and very rarely get beaten at the ruck area of the tackle where we see our markers and where the majority of work's done.
Set with a clearing kick. It's a decent chase here by the French side. There are 4 up there to make sure it's not an easy outlet for Jack Briscoe.
Yeah, that's the best kick of the game from the French and gives you a chance of trying to restrict Featherstone's territory-making efforts.
Well, that's been lost.
That'd be even better. That gives them a great chance.
So here they are. Best set so far, certainly in terms of a starting position for the Pier Donkeys. They went down the blind side. There was nobody there. Well, they're bunched up behind at the moment. This is Christophe Molly. Back inside for Artie Sheed. It's quite a muddy patch of the ground here, isn't it? We saw Artie Sheed losing his feet and he's lost the ball. Lost the ball in the tackle. Clean drop, the referee decides. Head and feet goes Featherstone's way.
I think he got a bang on the scone here. Mellon takes as he goes down. Probably hyperextended his neck there, has he? Didn't look too flash, that one.
No, there was a little hand in the ball as well, wasn't there, which might have influenced its fall from possession. So Featherstone from here. Here's Worthington. You played with his dad, didn't you, Greg Worthington?
Pete Worthington, his dad, played for Bradford Northern Colts many moons ago. Many babbling brooks and odd-shaped moons ago.
Bradford Northern? Who were they, Grandad?
Bradford Northern, who were they, Grandad, yeah.
Don't get him started.
Youngie's experienced me. When I go, I go.
Here comes Spears for Featherstone.
Good
taken in hard enough, but hit hard enough as well, wasn't he?
Yeah.
With the French resistance.
It was Dustin Cooper that gave him a touch up there.
Lockwood up to the half. That was the 5th. Here comes the last. It's going to be a kick from Finn. Another tester for Suberas, who's had 1 or 2 nightmares to deal with already today, and there's another one. No real pressure, should have caught that safely enough. Nick Youngquist, how's he feeling at the moment?
I'm not too sure, mate, but it's probably safe to say that Pear are missing Shad Royston right now. You know, he'd be a little bit more solid at the back and probably steer them around the park a little bit easier. So, head up, son.
I'm not implying in any way there that you would know how he would fail. I'm just saying for you to guess how he would feel. That's all, with a high ball and dropped it. You got a comforting arm around the shoulder from your former coach Brian Noble. Here, Featherstone with a chance. Kane, 2-try scorer so far. Ian Hartman will take it in. Well, they're only about 15 metres away, so the odds would be on another Featherstone try here. Matty Dale, taken high.
I reckon we'll see the same formula here, Dave. I think Featherstone open up the right-hand side of the field to go uphill through Finn and through Kane, and then look to release their outside people.
Here comes Lockwood, one-time Dewsbury player, James Lockwood. He was really good in the Cup, the Challenge Cup against Castleford and Wigan. Really fronted up. Here's Liam Finn with a short pass, and Tim Spears will just drop over the line. Easy try for the Featherstone Rovers. They've already, you would sense, got more than a couple of fingers on that European trophy.
I think this is down to Dustin Cooper, the French second rower, flies in to try and stop around the ruck that they had covered, and it is a massive open space for Kane just to find Tim Spears on the outside into a huge hole. But that's down to Dustin. See there, he jumps into where he's not needed, Dustin Cooper, and it was like the Grand Canyon opened up for Tim Spears. You know, both sides. That's too hard to defend. So people will be looking at the defender opposite Tim Spears, but it's Lockwood, the French back rower, sorry, Cooper, the French back rower, that jumps in towards the strip to try and defend that play that causes the problem.
And he's a player with some experience as well, isn't he, Dustin Cooper? He's played at Melbourne, at Newcastle, at Cronulla. He had a spell in the Japanese rugby union with Toyota Verblitz.
Great name.
Fantastic name. But he's been at Pierre for a couple of years now. He will enjoy that last few moments of his Pierre career, because he's responsible for the try, which has been converted by Finn, which makes it 3 out of 3 for Finn. 18 points to 0, Featherstone lead, 19 minutes played. It's all about now gathering your spirits up, isn't it, Nick? All about finding a bit of personality in your side when you're losing like this.
Yeah, well, they need a big set now. They need to pin them down in their own 10 and get a good set. Watch the tackle 3 kick from Finn. They kicked it out on the full.
Well, the last thing that Anthony Correa needed to do was that. Penalty for Featherstone back on the halfway line. They'll be back at the other end before very long here.
You can see the improvement, Dave, in the French teams that we're watching. They do 4 or 5 things really, really well, and then the 6th thing they do will be totally alien to what they've been doing. Kicking out on the full there, you can't countenance for that, but some of their defences are 5 decent players on the line, and then somebody will jump out the structure and not trust the structure, and it costs you dearly.
St. Benoit Albert, the French coach, the peer coach down on the touchline. He's only 33 years of age. He'll certainly be learning plenty. Here's Finn looking for the runners. Hepworth, ball back on the inside. Defence was there to meet. So they'll try again. Ben Kay now picks it up. To his right is England. Behind the line is Finn. It's Kane who has to take that. It was a difficult ball because they were in his face, but he's taken it well enough. There are still tackles in the back. Kay once more. Finn queuing up to his left. Lockwood was one of those. Twisting but held up and put down. So it's a brave effort here by the Pierre defence. They're doing well. 4 tackles, they've kept them out. Can they keep this up? This is Kane. Kane with a pass, and the man who's playing in the centres, who's not used to being there. This is what try scoring feels like out wide, is it? John Gratian goes over. It's a 4th Featherstone try. 22 points to 0 they lead.
It's just another example of that, doing some things well, and then this is a one-on-one miss by Norton. You see, he knows Grayson's getting the ball. He comes up and gives himself the opportunity. But a little bit of footwork from Grayson, and it's not much. He needed to nail that. I don't know whether he's going to try and go for the intercept in the end, but he's there in front of him. He's Norton. He just needed to stop him. It's just another example there for those. See, 4 or 5 decent players on their line, and they look organised, and then somebody, if Norton just makes that tackle, they're down to the kick to defend.
Yep. Another conversion attempt here for Liam Finn. Featherstone ringing the changes. They've made 3 interchanges before this conversion is taken. Jack Bussey is on. Certainly he's one of those who's arrived on the scene. Who else has come on? Having a look around, has Don Maloney come on?
No, I think it's Haley. I think it's Haley. I could be wrong.
Mickey Haley. Here's a kick anyway. Oh, he's hit the post and then got it. So they're not only playing better than their French counterparts, they're getting the look as well, Featherstone. Post and in, 24 points to nil. Featherstone lead.
Mismatch again. Kane the ball, missed pass to Johnny Grayson, who is too big and too strong from there, isn't he?
So here's Carrera again, his mistake a while ago. Back to the attacking opportunity that gave Featherstone their 4th try of the afternoon. Oh, and it's been dropped by Jack Briscoe. So Featherstone will have to defend here.
Well, let's see if Pierre can put a set or two together, you know, maybe try and the opportunity to stay here if they can. If they don't score a try in the set, don't be frustrated, don't try and make something up. Try and roll a ball in. Maybe a kick try. Let's see 3 or 4 blokes in green running for the line on the back of a decent kick from Carrera or Grisek.
Here it comes, it's picked up by Carrera. Grisek now helps it on its way. Well, there's a slip there, and it looks as though Mathieu Mayans might be badly hurt. Hold up the game here.
I think he'd be all right. I think his pride will be hurt.
He's given a penalty, hasn't he?
Was he?
Gareth Ewer, yeah.
Let's have a look, see what we see here. Well, Carrera out the back of the scrum to Grisek, and well, he's tackling him without the ball, that's what he's saying.
Well, here comes Unulutu Lamalange. He's fresh from the bench for the Pierre team. He's been hanging around France for a while as well. He was at Villeneuve, certainly previously. This is Grisek. Back it goes to Suberas. Oh, that's asking far too much of Thomas Humbert. He did his very best to keep it in.
Well, the idea was good. The execution was really poor. He should have given it to the back row that threw a huge hole. Dustin Cooper there was on the fly, and he decides not to use the guy that just run through our viewing, and then we'll go for the big Harbour Bridge speculator. And Thomas Humbert is 6'2", and needed to be 8'2" to catch that one.
They definitely made the space, but as you say, the skill just wasn't there in the end. So
here's Finn with a feed. Whitworth pulls it out, and Hardman is the man he finds with a pass. The fullback, the former St Helens man, of course. He had spells at Hulkingston Rovers and Widnes. He's loads of Super League experience, over 60 appearances for St Helens and Hulkingston Rovers.
Every time you better look.
It's Maloney.
3, movement. Wait. Go.
Haley's, it's Mickey Haley, isn't it? Who's on for the bench. Ex-Leeds player Mickey Haley. Darryl Powell actually signed him at Leeds when he was just a youngster. Oh, it's sliding through, goes Grayson again. Hardman's in support, so was Kane. Kane over the top. Briscoe will fly in at the corner. 25 minutes played. It's already 28 points to nil. Jack Briscoe adding his name to this growing list of Featherstone Rovers try scorers here today. Another flowing move.
Well, it's a great ball from Liam Finn to Johnny Grayson on the fly, and they nearly butcher it because they got too many people in the frame. Ian Hardman can't get himself a pass, and Jack Briscoe finishes it off. Ian Hardman tried his best to ruin this play. He got in the way of Grayson, then he got in the way of Finn, and then couldn't quite get in the way of Van der Kade. So great finish from Jack Briscoe, but Featherstone, you have to say that this left-hand side of Pierre need to have a little bit of a word to each other. I think this slope coming up, what we don't realise on the screen, the slope is uphill as well as left to right on our screens. It goes from the top of the screen up to the bottom of the screen, so it's like a little hole in the corner. And if you move the ball up, if you spread enough and pass play, you have to turn, you have to drag your legs up as hard as you can, and they're just not getting there. They're not numbering up properly.
It's all those great revelations that we pay Brian Noble thousands and thousands of pounds for every week. The slope is uphill as well as downhill. Who'd have thought? Who'd have thought?
That's groundbreaking information you get in there.
Yeah. Liam Finn with the conversion attempt. 4 out of 4 with the help of the post on one of them. Dragging this one low. He's hit it well enough. Just drags over. 5 out of 5. 30 points to nil. Featherstone Rovers lead. 26 minutes played. And here's the last of them. The latest of them. The 5th try of the afternoon so far. Boy, they're a talented family, the Briscoes, aren't they? Tom at Hull, and there he is. Jack, I think he's the middle one, Jack, isn't he? Is it Luke who's at Leeds, who's just signed for Leeds as well?
They're very strong.
But the Briscoes and the Tompkins and the Burgesses together, you've almost got an international team amongst them, haven't you?
First, move! Let's get square.
So Featherstone start again. Jack Bussey is the man who's wearing number 14, by the way. He's only 19 years of age.
Hold. Go.
Another of those from the Leeds Academy. It's Maloney driving it in.
Yeah, lads, wait for foot. Go.
Bussey. Haley. Finn spreading it wide again. This is Worthington, who's just testing them here.
Hold.
So Bussey in there again. He can play in a number of positions, Jack Bussey. Is playing in that dummy half role at the moment, isn't he? The hooker's role. It's a strong character. Left it goes. Finn with a slice, and Hardman's desperately trying to get there. But soaks it with Suberas, and his desperation was a little more successful.
It was a little trick kick from Finn, wasn't it? A left to right. I've got to clear this up for our viewers. As you look at the screen, left to right, it's going down, so they run down the hill. As you look at your screen from top to bottom, or the bottom of the screen, it comes up the hill this way. So you got 2 uphills.
Well, I'm glad you cleared it up.
Yeah.
I still haven't got a clue what you're talking about.
No, neither have I, really.
Here's Kane. Featherstone are going downhill, we think. This is Mick Haley.
They're going downhill twice now.
Yeah. Here's Bussey at dummy half. 30 points to 0. If you're just switching on our free view this afternoon, special free view, of course, for you. Here on Premier Sports. We're here every week, mostly Thursday nights. Championship Rugby League. A bit of a French special for you today. All the NRL games as well here on Premier Sport throughout the season. So lots of Rugby League on this channel. And I'm sure you'll be easily able to find ways of subscribing. Premier Sport. Here it's Finn. Step by him, taken in by Broderick Wright. 18th man when Parramatta played in the grand final against Melbourne. That close to playing in a grand final 3 years ago. Hepworth missing them out. This is Worthington, who's bouncing over and will score. The referee has a look, points the finger. Nobody was touching him when he made the second effort. No hint of a double movement in that case. It's try number 6. 34 points to 0. How many is this going to be today, Brian?
It's going to be a lot unless Pierce sort themselves out. And what we see here is it's a last play. They've handled 5 players pretty well, and it's just that last play again. They've got a defender to him, and his career gets him to him. He just needs to make the tackle. Make the tackle. But he holds off him, and he breaks that tackle and just bounces over and finishes stride as Worthington. He just needed to get up in his face and knock his knees together. He had the time and he had the space to make that play. It's just that one play in 6 that they're lacking the concentration to finish the set off.
I genuinely hesitate to ask this, Nick Youngquest, but will the slope make a difference to Pierre in the second half when they're going downhill? Whether it's left or right, back to front, I'm not sure, but will it make a difference in the second half?
Oh, definitely. I think obviously Featherstone know how to play the slope pretty well, and they've been kicking on tackle 3, as we've alluded to before. But as Brian says, Pierre have been defending well at parts, but there's just one-on-one missed tackles that they're just letting them down at the moment.
So here comes Finn.
Which slope we were alluding to?
I have no idea. I've no idea.
I know perfectly well which slope we're all alluding to.
Here comes Finn. Right-footed kicker, so he'll hook this one back in, and he has done. Boy, his kicking's been terrific. And that adds to the misery, really, doesn't it? 6 out of 6, they're going up in 6s instead of 4 here and 4 there.
As Nick says, you've got to make your one-on-ones, and Carre's there. I don't know who's hanging off while the winger had his man, and he would have got help from me, I'm sure, if it had gone in there. I'll just pick up on your point of the fantastic coverage of all the games we have in the Championship on Premier Sports and the NRL. I watched the 3 of the Burgess brothers turn out for Souths yesterday against Canterbury, and James Graham, the English front row, was playing for Canterbury, and Sam Burgess and James Graham got into each other, so there's the Briscoe dynasty part of it on the field here for Featherstone, but that was a fabulous game to watch yesterday.
The other Burgess still at Bradford, of course. So 4 Burgess brothers, 3 Briscoes, 2 Tompkins at the moment, isn't there? Here's a little push-off by Mickey Haley. Up from dummy half goes Jack Bussey. It's a good platform here now for Daryl Powell to have a look at these players like Jack Bussey, isn't it? And Don Maloney, maybe less him, but Madudu as well. Madudu, who's going to come off the bench. Have a look at him in this environment as well. They'll know a bit about Madudu. He's had him around for a couple of years now. Here's Finn, putting it high. Who wants this? Not many green shirts in the way. It's bouncing away. from Ambert. Eventually recovered by Clément Soubeyras. And the French start from here.
See, the difficult thing for the French is that Featherstone are on the game defensively as well. So you'd think, you know, with such a huge score that they wouldn't be making much progress, but Featherstone are determined to keep this score line at zip, I think.
Here's Wendy Bush, local lad. He plays from Pier. He comes from Pier. He's only 21. Wendy.
Spelt windy.
Spelt Wendy, W-E. According to the coach, she told me it was Wendy. Kick by Anthony Carrere.
Kick is played on there now.
So play on, the referee says. So in the end, it did need picking up by Tony Saxton because there was a bit of pressure put on him by Anthony Carrere. It's Worthington. He was the man who scored a little earlier as well.
He's a nice shape of a kid, isn't he? You know, looks athletic and carries the ball well out of dummy half. And obviously we saw him finish the try there. He's gone well for Featherstone this year.
Jack Bussey. Here comes Maloney, hammering into that line. Good hit by him. Bussey once more. Finn's gone to his left. He wants that ball. He shouted for it. And this is Hepworth now, who's found the gap and brushing off the attempts in the fullback again. How many is that? 7? 7 now. Johnny Hepworth has gone in again. 40 points to nil.
Well, I was short on that right-hand side there, and the indicator's got to be Hardman there, so they've got to get defenders across from the left-hand side, across to the right, and even the numbers up so they can defend them more.
Well, Liam Finn's smart as well, isn't he? He'll see that lack of numbers and he'll have a word with Johnny Hepworth. Listen, and this shifted late, watch how Finn comes back to this side and brings Hardman late back to this side, which just gives them the numbers for Hepworth to finish in the corner. Put that down to Finn and Hardman. They've sold the open side, the uphill side, if you like, and then shifted really late on last play, both Hardman and Finn, and attacked the bottom side.
I think the hill definitely played a part in that try too, to be fair.
There was a film called The Hill, wasn't there?
Was there?
Yeah.
Liam Finn with his 7th conversion attempt. There's a bit of a record just looming here already, because Pier's biggest ever defeat was on English soil against Whitehaven back in 2006 when they lost 72 points to nil against Whitehaven 6 years ago. So they're already 40 points to nil down. Well, this is, again, absolutely spot on by Finn. 42 points to nil, 7 kicks out of 7 from Leon Finn, and they've not all been easy, have they?
No. You'd have to say that they're a chance of breaking that record, aren't you? I don't think they're that enthusiastic to break that record. Here we see Johnny Hepworth sliding in at the corner with the wet conditions. He can go early and low to complete the try, but they need to muscle up a little bit, don't they, Pierre? They need to... The coach needs to have a quiet chat with a few of them at half time and say, even if the hill does or doesn't make a difference, they certainly need to play for 6, build sets. You build defensive sets, Dave, like you build attacking sets. You know, you build them what you do, and you put 3 in the tackle, you get somebody there. It becomes more of a rhythm and a momentum rather than, you know, one out trying to make plays. But they've certainly got to improve their one-on-one ratios on the fringes.
There's Don Maloney trying to get his arms free to see if he could get the offload away, looking around, see what the support was, but there were 3 players hanging on him, so plan shelved for the time being. Haley gets it on again, looking to pour through. 4 minutes of this first half remaining. Here's Haley, hammering well. Finn. Soubeyras is not looking forward to this moment. It's been lost by Hardman. Hardman pushed it on, knock on.
Well, I thought he was offside at the kick anyway. I was going to scream blue murder for the Pia team there. That was a penalty, sir. He was offside, was Hardman. Or he was a better timer of the ball than me. Anyway, he knocked it on.
Heading in. Down.
Away it comes through Grisek. And players like him are really important now, aren't they, Maxime Grisek?
Tackle 1.
Well, they are, because he's been here. He knows this field. He knows what to expect. He's represented France. You've got to stand up. You know, you've got to do your own bits a little bit better, and then you've got to try and encourage the rest to certainly get to half-time.
Get into their ribs and really tell them to improve.
And the problem is the team in blue and white don't want you to improve, so sometimes it just takes one individual. It takes one individual to roll the sleeves up and suggest, well, I'm not taking this, I'm going to have a crack. And it can inspire the rest.
Well, here we go. Maybe there's an opportunity here. This is Steve Norton, ex-Sydney Rooster man. Oh, and he's done well. He's managed to get himself through. He doesn't look to have pace to burn, but he's certainly running a decent angle in the pass. He's just asking a question. Here comes Mayon on that right-hand side. Ankle tap, but he's still going. Still going. Oh, he's found a way through. Matthew Mayon. Well, what a try that was. Length of the field from two players, neither of whom looked all that quick, and yet they found their way through that Featherstone defence.
Well, Steve Norton deserves a lot of credit there because he makes the break. You know, they're struggling to get out of their own half, and it ends up being a shift play in their own half. Norton comes back against the grain and finds himself a break in the middle of the field. He's got inside support, decides to go away from that, and the old bounce pass, when the ball hits the floor, all the Featherstone Rovers players stop and put this down to Marcel. He just won't be he's determined, he won't be stopped, he keeps on going, and Mayons ends up, through sheer determination, breaking a number of tackles here, and Tommy Saxton gets across, and Liam Finn tries to tackle him around the head, which never works on anybody, and Briscoe's come across from the other side of the field to try and stop the play, but Mayons has done really well there, hasn't he?
How much does that lift spirits?
Yeah, I think Peter look a little bit disjointed at times. I think they wanted to shift on the play before they shifted to Steve Norton, but hopefully that gives them some confidence in the second half.
Well, only two players involved, but they went 80 metres. They've scored a try, and a good try it was as well. That Matthew Mayons, by the way, he does have a terrific strike record. This is his 21st appearance of the season. It's his 15th try, so he knows his way to the line, doesn't he?
I'll get the ball to him with my tip.
I love the way the French do things. The coach is actually taking water bottles out to the players as well. Would you do that not be back in your time?
If I could have got, you know, my leg, the situation, my legs, I'd have loved to have done that. But
it's his knee, Nick. It was his knee. Here comes a kick from Grasek. So 42 points to 6. So at least unlike the Whitehaven game 6 years ago, they're not going to be nilled here.
Well, centre to centre here. Norton with a big long speculator, and Mayons is off. The big slip fall that stops a few defenders. Liam Finn doesn't get to him. Ian Hardman, uncharacteristically poor effort from him as well.
Oh, referee has pulled them for offside. The Featherstone players advancing ahead of the line before the ball was kicked.
We've got 30 seconds of the French to get anywhere near.
The penalty has not even found touch from Maxime Grasek. So they've got 30 seconds to defend now instead.
Yeah.
Just a little hurried, wasn't he? So Featherstone looking for another hammer blow before that half-time hooter sounds here. Here's Jack Briscoe, a welter of peer players ahead of him. Trying to come back on the inside. It's Andy Kay at dummy half. He's going to have a go himself here, Tim Spears, and almost doing well. The offload was good, but into the hands of Vincent Comtat, who's on from the bench, the man who just plucked that ball out of the air. So into the final 20-odd seconds of this opening half, which has certainly been eventful in terms of the frequency of Featherstone's try scoring. Anthony Leger. Featherstone, having conceded one try, will be desperately anxious that it doesn't happen again. Grasek with a little chip over the top. Here comes the chase. Decent chase, but I think there was a knock-on in there. There certainly was a second time. Referee will allow play on, advantage for Featherstone. And that was the hooter you'll have heard in the background. First half, without any shadow of doubt, Featherstone's half.